Hi Bryson, how are you?
Huh? Yeah, I'm well. I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm so happy, that I'm here with you today. I enjoy your conversations. We have been talking since maybe 2017.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Off and
Yeah,
on. Yeah.
yeah. So it is good that you are participating in another project of mine. So thank you also for this and also for choosing the movie Blade Runner.
Yeah.
So
Blade
thank
Runner.
you.
I had seen it. Thank you. I'm glad that you put together this project and you have this amazing list of films. Most of them I've never seen.
Mhm.
So I've saved your list, and I hope to work my way through all of those films before I die. So
It is a huge list. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
that's great. Yeah, I had seen it once years ago. I don't remember when. So I watched it again last night, and
Oh.
I'm really glad I rewatched it because there's so many things about it that the first time I watched it, I just watched it from the perspective of, hey, here's a cool like um, sci-fi film. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a dystopian future, neat. But rewatching it now, years later, I was able to look at it with maybe some different perspective and consider some of the things that the screenwriter might have been trying to convey in the film. So
Mm.
it was thank you for prompting me
Wow.
to watch this again, and I'm glad that I
Cool.
did.
Cool, Verizon. I'm happy. Yeah. So I have never seen this movie before. Most of the movies of the list that I sent you, I have never seen. I must confess that for the past maybe 10 years, I haven't been very active like with movies. I haven't watched movies, I think, since TV shows entered my life. I don't watch movies anymore. And then I just realized how rich that experience can be. And but I was like promising myself, so I was like, I'm going to watch the movies next weekend. But then I noticed that I was not going to. And then I came up with this project. I was like, okay, so there is a way that I will force myself because I love to discuss any type of thing with books, movies, art in general with friends. I love to share opinions and listen to different perspectives and point of view. So I realized that, if I have this conversation scheduled with these amazing people, I know I'll watch because I won't let them down. And I'll be too curious to know what they think. So
Uh-huh.
here we are. Yeah. Well,
So, in a way, this is just a project to make yourself watch a bunch of films.
in a way, yes.
I see how it is. It's completely selfish,
It
isn't it?
is. It is. Yes. Sort of like yes. Yes, but also it is about like sharing and like being, with people and talking. But it is a little bit
Yeah,
a little bit
yeah.
selfish.
Of course, I'm joking. I think it's a fantastic idea. I think it's a wonderful idea.
Yes. So it was my first time watching Blade Runner. And to be honest, I didn't know what to expect. I put it in the list because some people recommended and also because I was searching on the internet and I found that list and too many other lists of philosophical movies. To be honest, I thought it was about vampires and I don't even know why. But I was expecting vampires.
I know why.
Why?
I used to think the same thing because there's a famous, I think, a trilogy of films about vampires, and the
Mhm.
title is Blade.
Oh, that's it.
Have
Then
you
I
heard?
haven't watched that. No.
Yeah. So when the first time I went to see Blade Runner, I was like, all right, vampire movie. Okay. Well, it's not. I was
Huh?
thinking of Blade. So
It's not. It's not. But it was such a cool experience because, when we go watch movies, we already know the script, sort of like we know what it is about, someone recommended. But I had nothing. I just sat in front of my computer and I let the movie amaze me. I had no clue about what I was going to see. So it was a cool experience. And then I was like amazed all the time, perplexed at times. Do you say perplexed in English?
Perplexed? Yeah,
Perplexed.
perplexed is like is puzzled. I was puzzled and maybe a
Puzzled.
little
Yeah,
confused. Yeah.
confused. I was puzzled, but then I got my questions answered a little while after. So this movie, it is about it is about the future. It is dystopian, set in the future. There is this guy called Deckard. Am I pronouncing his name correctly?
Yeah, I think it's Deckard. Deckard.
Deckard.
I don't
Deckard.
remember if there's a D at the end.
Deckard. Deckard. Deckard.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Mm. Mhm.
I'll look up
So
his name real quick.
so it's Deckard or
I think
Deckard.
it's Deckard. Let me
Deckard.
find. Yeah, so his name is Rick Deckard.
Deckard.
Deckard. There is a D at the end. Yeah.
So Deckard, it is retired, and I think that his job was like he was a Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Blade
Uh,
Runner.
and then he was retired, and then uh, there is this world where they are um, something called replicants. They are human-like engineering beings,
Yep.
and they were banned from Earth. They work as slaves for human civilization in other planets. Would you say rather planet? Or
Yeah, they don't make that entirely clear in the film,
yeah,
right? They
yeah,
they call I think they call these places the off-world colonies.
yeah.
And this might be a colony on the moon or a colony on Mars, or maybe it's a colony on some asteroids or on some other sci-fi created planets in another solar system. But I don't remember them talking about that
Yeah.
detail. But yeah, the off-world colonies.
Off-world colonies. So they're enslaved. They work for humans, but a group of replicants, they escape and they come back to Earth because they want to find the the genetic engineer that created them, because they have expired date. This
Yeah, they have an expiry date.
expiry date. So they want to know how they could live longer. I think that was the reason why they escaped and came to Earth, right? I mean, they were slaves. They wanted to escape, obviously, but they also wanted to extend their lifespan. So, so they come to Earth, and Deckard needs to hunt them down and kill them. So that's the story. And yeah, so I would like to ask you, do you think that Deckard thought it was wrong to kill them, but he did it anyway because he had to?
You know
Or,
what? Um, I think that answer is a little more complex than yes or no,
mm-hmm,
um, but not much more complex. I think that uh, when the film begins, Deckard doesn't see any problem
mm,
with they call them retiring
retiring, yeah.
replicants, right? He doesn't see any problem with retiring replicants. For some reason or other, he's jaded with the job. He calls himself retired. He doesn't want anything to do with it anymore. But of
Mm-hmm,
course, they bring him back in, right? And they force him to do it. And I don't think that um, he. It's funny. They retire replicants, which means to kill them. But
yeah,
Deckard was retired, meaning he just wasn't working anymore. So
yeah.
anyway, I don't think he retired from the job because he found it morally objectionable. I think he just got sick and tired of it. Um, but as we see in the film, I don't want to spoil this for any of your viewers, for people who might not have seen the film, but um, he ends up meeting somebody that may start convincing him that replicants are not inherently bad,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that by the end of the film, his ideas may have changed about what is wrong and what is
Mm-hmm.
not wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the short answer to your question is I don't think he sees there's a problem with it until near the
Exactly.
end of the film. And
Yeah.
then he changes his mind about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking, but no, I don't think he's a replicant himself. He does not have the strong, right? When he was fighting the other replicants. I don't
Mhm.
think there was this question that the girl he meets says like, how do you know you're not a replicant? Did they perform the test on you? But I do not think he's a replicant himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, I think they use this language retiring and because they want to differentiate, like so they can enslave because they are so much human-like. And that's the thing. That's the thing that this movie provokes, like this, like so was it wrong to enslave them because their thought process and their bodies looked so similar to a human, but if they were a little bit different, would it be okay if they looked differently, like I don't know, some robots that we are used to see, like would it be okay? But was it wrong because they looked like us? I mean, was it wrong? What do you think?
Oh, geez. That's a hard question. Um, I don't want to sound like a politician by countering with other questions. So I'm going to give you the answer of I have no idea. You know what? You know what I think? I think that as soon as there is some sort of a living organism or some being that is not just sentient, but has emotional responses,
Mm,
I think it is wrong to treat them in ways that consistently cause their emotional responses to be negative. Um,
mm,
that's a pretty roundabout, but let me explain. For example, enslaving a human being. Well, I think I absolutely think that is wrong. Um, Not only do they have emotions, they're also sentient, right? And I believe that every human being has equal rights. They should all be treated with dignity and respect. But let's look a bit farther down the evolutionary line. Let's look at some of the other great apes, for example. They're highly intelligent, they're sentient, they know that they have self, they know that they exist as individuals, they have emotions, but they aren't human. So is it wrong to treat them inhumanly? Is it wrong to, let's say, enslave them and make them perform, or take them into a zoo or something like that?
mhm.
um, how do they feel about that? I don't know. I've never spoken with one. Let's look at just other animals like dogs. Is it wrong to mistreat any type of animal, or to put them in positions where they are emotionally or physically abused or disadvantaged in some way? I would argue that that's just it's I would argue that it's not right. So then we take this a step further and say, what about looking at the future? What about these dystopian films where genetic engineering has gotten so advanced that we're able to create things that look and act just like humans, and they can develop emotions just like humans? Well, even though they didn't evolve naturally, and even though they've been engineered by naturally evolved humans, um, they are sentient at this point in the film. They have a sense of self. They have dreams, desires, and wishes. They have
Yeah.
emotions. They have fear and love. So, is it wrong? By the arguments that I just made, I think logically
Yeah.
that this would be considered a moral wrongdoing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Especially if we think that they could only in some situations or most situations in the movie they could only be identified through a test of a lot of questions. And there is this character Rachel. She was so human that she didn't even know that she was. I'm telling spoilers, so yeah. She didn't even know
not
that
my
she.
fault, of
No,
course.
so sorry, so sorry. I'll put spoiler alert in the in the title. We can
Good call.
spoiler.
Okay, so from now on, I'll feel free to give
Yeah,
spoilers too.
yeah, yeah. So she didn't even know that she was a replicant, and because she had human memories, so I was wondering, it is wrong. I think it is wrong to enslave them, but especially if they are among us and we have no ideas how to differentiate them. They could live like Rachel could have lived a long life as a human being, thinking she was a human being, experiencing life as she was, conscious, aware, like she's a human, or she's very close to it, and it is very interesting. So I was also thinking about memories. So Rachel, she thinks that her memories were real. Um, she remembers of them vividly, and the only moment that she starts questioning, she doesn't know she's a replicant, is when Deckard starts like, do you say quoting, no, or telling her memories as they were, as they happened?
What was the first word you used?
Quoting? No, quoting her
What is it?
memories. To quote?
Qu- Oh,
Quoting.
quoting her memories. Yeah, that's a pretty good way to put it. Um, you could say that he was quoting
Hmm.
her memories, or he was telling her what her memories are.
Hmm. Yeah. So I was wondering, like, we trust our memories. I think at least I trust mine. How? I mean, what would give us reason to start questioning the accuracy of the memories that we have? So I wanted to ask you about your past events. What would have to happen? It is a difficult question, isn't it? What would have to happen for you to start questioning your past? It is difficult. I know.
um,
I wouldn't know how to answer that.
I think if Lawrence Fishburne came and he was wearing some of those clip-on glasses and he gave me a red pill and a blue pill, then I would
Mm,
start questioning my memories.
okay.
But no,
Only that. Only then.
that's the only thing. No, this is a really interesting phenomena that people actually. I've got a little tiny lamp here that it keeps
Okay.
toppling over, so
Okay.
sorry about the light. Um, yeah, I live in a small apartment, so my office is actually my bedroom.
Mhm.
I'm sitting on my bed right now, believe it or not.
Cool.
Um, this little lamp on the mattress, and it's not stable. This is an interesting phenomenon that humans deal with all the time. It If we tell ourselves we people can make up stories and then tell themselves that story over and over, and over time that story begins to become the truth for that person even if it didn't really happen. um, I I've got some personal experiences with thinking about certain things that happened in my life that now I'm not really sure if they actually happened. Because I think either I truly remember it or I remember watching a home video of something like this and then it became a part of my story, and then over the years I began to believe this really happened to me or it's an experience I truly had. um, so when it comes to the idea of planting memories or engineering a person and planting memories, um, it doesn't seem too far-fetched to me. We we naturally create memories for ourselves. Sometimes people naturally create memories for ourselves, or on the opposite end of that, people will naturally block out tragic memories.
Yeah.
And it's a defense mechanism, it's a coping mechanism, and it's something that the brain does to help us survive. uh, so in some way, shape, or form, these kinds of things already happen naturally.
Mm-hmm.
I think given our technological leaps and bounds over the past century, it's not too far it's not too much of a stretch of imagination to think about a day, possibly in the near future, when memories can be fabricated and implanted. And there are other films and TV shows that I've seen, perhaps you have or your viewers have, where this is a part of the plot. This is
Yeah.
like Ghost in the Shell, for example. That's
Mm-hmm.
if you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. But
Ghost in the
um,
Shelf. Mm-hmm.
in the Shell, Ghost in
The
the
Shell.
Shell,
Mm-hmm.
um, phenomenal anime series. It was turned into an animated film, and then a live action film came out some years ago. And that's part of the premise, where memories can be fabricated and implanted. Um, there's also Battlestar Galactica. Have you seen that?
Mm-mm. You
So
recommend? Okay.
also I highly recommend it. It is a
Okay.
serial. It's a series, 4 seasons long. There's an original from the 70s, and then there's a remake from the, I don't know, that maybe the 2000s, and that's what I have seen.
Mm-hmm.
And you run into very, very similar moral issues that you and I are talking about right now. But they take it even further because it's a series and it goes on for many episodes. But as far as what would it take me to question my memories, uh, honestly, I don't know. I think if somebody approached me and had a conversation with me, just like Deckard had with what's her name? Was it
Rachel?
Rachel?
Rachel.
Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
I think if somebody did that to me, I might start wondering what on earth is going on, what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to to deny your own personal memories. Like I can only imagine how Rachel would have felt. She had memories of childhood,
Yeah.
and he was telling her those aren't real.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah. She even had abilities. She could play the piano, and she
Yeah.
didn't know. And wow, that was implanted as well. Yeah, it is. It is difficult. It is difficult. I think not only our memories can be fake, we can like create memories, but also we might not have the context, or we might recontextualize our memories also, depending on what we will know in the future. We can look at the past and see it differently. And we often do that when we are a little bit far from some event. We understand it better. So it was not what we thought it was. So the past can change as well. So the memories, they, the perspective of the memories, does that make sense? Can change,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely. And I again, kind of that notion of or that fact that I've got some memories of being a very, very, very young child, and to this day I'm not really sure if those are genuine memories or if they're memories of me watching the home video of that
Mm,
happening when I was a bit older. So that perspective is different. It's like, do I remember this from the perspective of me standing there looking around? Or do I remember this from the perspective of somebody watching the home video on television?
wow.
I can't remember. I'm not sure. I know these things happened, but I don't know if the memory is the original memory or if the memory is I remember watching a home video about me doing this.
Wow.
So
Interesting.
it's kind of meta, but I
Yeah.
don't know. So the memory that I'm talking about, the memory in question,
Mm,
I remember
mm,
being a toddler and being in my family's living room and sliding down a plastic slide, a small plastic slide. So the thing is, do I remember sliding down the slide, or do I remember watching a home video of me sliding down the slide.
Wow.
I don't know. I
Wow.
remember what the slide looks like, but I'm not sure if it's just
Interesting.
because I saw it in a video or if I actually remember the event.
Wow. Interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. I read a book really, really different some months ago. Was about was what was the name? You it was a book on spirituality, and the author of the book was arguing that we were not born ever, and we are not going to die either. And then he was like, what are the proofs that you were ever born, that you were not ever here? And what do you have? Do you remember being born, or people have talked to you about that? Do you remember like being an infant, a baby, or do you have you seen pictures of it and people telling you that you were? And yeah, but I think, I mean that was a little bit, I don't know. He was arguing that we were always here, always, and there is no such thing as l- being born or dying. But we see that those things happening to others, so we assume that it will happen to us or has happened to us because we see it happening. But yeah, I'm not sure if I remember like being a child. It feels like, even though most of my memories are not from home videos, it feels like it was a different person. It was not me as me here, you know, like even like 2 years ago, some memories that I have from 2, 3, 4 years ago, it seems like memories from someone else. It feels like I have changed in so many different ways that that person is not who I am, and I don't know. Interesting, isn't it?
It's almost, yeah, um, dwelling on these kinds of things for too long turns into an existential crisis. Like it gets to the point where I just have to stop and think, you
We
know what? I'm going to go stand outside in the cold for a while so that I can clear my head and feel better.
Yeah.
um, but these are serious philosophical questions to dive into. At the end of the day, we experience our own lives on a regular basis. You know, like if no matter where these conversations go, no matter what we decide we end up believing, I still want you to enjoy your time because it feels it feels like we we are born, we grow up, we live our lives, we have our experiences, our joys, our fears, um, our sadnesses, and then we die.
Hmm.
And if it turns out that none of that is true, if none of that is real, um, frankly, I don't care
Yeah.
because what I experience is that I'm speaking with you, and I want you to enjoy your day. I want you to enjoy tomorrow and every day after that. And I want myself to enjoy my time here. Um, and if somehow, some way, none of this is actually real, well, that doesn't. It would be interesting to know that,
Hmm.
and it makes for a really interesting discussion. But on a day-to-day basis, I just want to enjoy the time that I have here and know that my loved ones are safe and healthy and enjoying their time too. Like, how can I prove that I really do have a family that is still around and experiencing their own lives? Well, I guess based on kind of like this author that you were talking about, um, that may not be the case. I can't necessarily prove it, I suppose, but it's what
Yeah.
I experience.
Yeah. That, if I learned something, that is the conversation number 4. That's the fourth movie I have watched and discussed. And all the movies were very philosophical. We watched Waking Life, uh, Truman Show, and Joker, and all those, and now Blade Runner. And all the conversations, they revolved around the theme that maybe none of this is real, but like you said, it really doesn't matter. We are here. And if someone comes to us and tells us, you know what, you two are replicants. So what? Like, we are replicants. Okay.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
does that change our experiences? Yeah, it is. But yeah, I do think that those type of moments where we introspect and we watch this type of things, and even though it might seem and be a little uncomfortable to think about those things, especially if we do that too long, it's difficult. But I think that, mm, I mean, for me, for myself, it makes my experience more meaningful, because sometimes existence could be hard, especially if we are very busy, like with our careers, with our, like, always working and like taking care of ourselves, of our house, of our pets, of our loved ones. It could become very automatic. So I think those moments where we stop and we, I don't know, we go to nature, we contemplate, we watch those movies, and we travel, like, and it makes the experience more meaningful. Yeah. What do you think?
I I agree.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
These are I kind of when I was in university and undergraduate, um, there were periods of time where I felt like a very philosophical person.
Mm.
I'm not. I'm not at all. But I had come up with the conclusion that our life, our entire lives are just the culmination of our experiences.
Yeah.
You know, your life is the culmination of your experiences. And, you know, when you're on your deathbed, or I guess at any point in your life, when you look back on all of the years, all of the days that you have currently lived, the person you are has been at least partially determined by your experiences, and your memories are entirely um, based upon your experiences. So, you know, our experiences are really one of the most important things that we have. And that sounds selfish, but our experiences rely upon our interactions with other people.
Yeah.
So if your interactions with other people are positive, that's not necessarily a selfish thing. You know, you want to make the people around you happy. You want to help the people around you. You want to just live in a way that makes your experiences positive, and that most often involves making the people around you feel good and positive. So if we all did that and we all thought that way, I think the world would be a much better place. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing, Bryson. Yeah, I love that insight. Yes. I think when we work on ourselves, I was listening to this podcast the other day about this guy saying that meditating seems like, it might seem like something very selfish that one does to himself, for themselves. But when we improve ourselves, we improve the other people, the lives of other people as well. So, and when we create this environment where we help and we care about others, and I think it create a better community and ultimately a better world. I don't know. That's the thing I think that I am trying to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So,
I agree. I agree. You know, I'm about to enter the field of education.
yeah,
And I'm hoping to work with.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Happy
I'm
for
hoping
you.
I'll be working with. There goes my lamp, toppled over. I'll be working with students of all different ages,
Yeah.
and you know, in order to make their experience the best experience possible, I need to work on improving the way that I present myself, the way that I present educational material, um, and that's not just for my job. It's so that I can enjoy myself, because when any of my students enjoy themselves, I'm having a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds selfish, but it's not I guess it's, but by making other people enjoy their time, you are also making yourself enjoy your time even more. So they say nothing is totally altruistic. Nothing is completely unselfish. And I mean, it's true. When you do something that helps somebody else, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So you benefit from that, right? You get something out of it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, and that's something that I like about, how do I phrase this? This is something that I look forward to in working in education. Not every educator feels the same way. They just do
And
it as a job.
yeah.
But I look forward to feeling good about it because my students will feel good.
Yes. I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. You're a great teacher. You're a great person.
Well, thank
So
you, thank you.
yeah.
And so are you.
I'm not
But
sure, but thank you for saying that.
I'm not sure either myself.
Yeah.
No, really. It's just that personal spin on everything we've been talking about. You know, our lives are the culminations of our experiences. So let's just act and live in ways that provide positivity for the people around us, and that is going to make you feel good, and by extension your memories, from on a day-to-day basis, are going to be good memories, or better memories at least.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are running out of time. Also, thank you for the extra time you gave me.
Yes. Oh,
Oh,
thank you so much for inviting me
thank
to chat with
you.
you. I really enjoyed watching the film and talking about it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
I hope that the rest of the project goes well.
Yes, I hope I managed to watch the next 6 movies before the year ends, because that's the project, to watch 10 movies in December. Hopefully I'll manage that. I'll accomplish that. So
One
thank you
movie
so
every few
much.
days.
Hmm?
Yeah, thank you. It was so good to chat with you again, and I'll
Yeah.
talk to you later.
Yeah, and congratulations once again on the
Thank
graduation.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so speak soon, Bryson. Bye.
Sounds good. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.